Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you at the end of another week, or another working week. Anyway, it is Friday, of course, and it is the day, fingers crossed, we should see Arsenal announce their first signing of the January transfer window. Leandro Trossard is in the house, or he's very, very nearly in the house by the time you're watching this. He could well be in the house officially as an Arsenal player. He has been at the training ground all morning, was there bright and early today as Arsenal were rushing to try and get this deal done ahead of the 12 p.m. deadline today, and that deadline means if Arsenal do get all the paperwork submitted in time, that he will be able to feature against Man United on Sunday. Now, of course, whatever time you're watching this video, I'm recording it about just gone at 11, so it's not by the time you're watching this, it's bound to be after 12 o'clock, I imagine, and that deadline will have passed, but Arsenal are certainly working towards it. Whether the deal gets announced like straight away, it might not be the case, but Arsenal, they're trying to get it done. They want to get it done before 12 p.m. It might be they announce it a little bit later on in the day. Now, Mikel Arteta's press conference was due to be held at 1:30 p.m. today at London Colney. That has been pushed back till 4 p.m. now. Presumably that is because they want to get an announcement out before the press conference, which allows Arteta to speak about it, because you know what Arteta says, if he's not officially an Arsenal player, he won't talk about it. So it would have been a little bit farcical had the press conference gone on at like 1:30 p.m. We all pretty much would have known that Trossard had signed for Arsenal, but if Arteta wasn't able to speak about it, that would make it all look a bit stupid. So hopefully the fact that it's now been moved to 4 p.m. means that he will be able to talk about it and the announcement can come before that. But this is Arsenal, so we shall wait and see. We all know that sometimes these announcements drag on longer than everyone wants to, so we will wait and see. But as I said, he's been at London Colney all day so far today, this morning, getting everything done, doing all these photos, medical stuff finally completed, and he will be confirmed at some point, if not already confirmed by the time you're watching this video, as an Arsenal player. It's costing Arsenal £21 million in an initial fee to Brighton, with add-ons taking it up to around sort of £26-27 million over the next few years. 3.5 year contract with him with an option of a further year. Now, I said what I said yesterday in the video in terms of why I think this is a smart move for Arsenal, and I absolutely stand by it. I really do think it's a good move for them for plenty of reasons, which I suggested yesterday. He's Premier League proven, can score goals at this level, score against the big clubs in the Premier League, proven he can do it against. He scored a hat-trick at Old Trafford this season, scored a goal at the Etihad. Last season he scored against Arsenal, Spurs, United. I think he scored against United this season as well. He's a big game player. He can do it at the very, very top level. He can do it against the best defenders. He's 2-footed. He can play across the front line. He's not majorly expensive, so he can save extra money to be spent elsewhere in the transfer market, whether that be this month or in the summer. It's just lots of reasons why I think this is going to be a really smart deal, and I can understand exactly why Arsenal turned to Trossard, having missed out on Madrid. Yes, he's not this big sort of trophy sign-in that can all show off and boast about on social media and wind up other rival fans like perhaps a Mudryk was, but it's still a very, very smart piece of transfer business, I think, from Arsenal. And looking at most of your comments yesterday, I think a lot of you do agree with me, although there are certainly some who think Arsenal should have pushed the boat out and spent a little bit more money on what maybe you would call a bigger name. But it doesn't always work like that, and I think it's a really good addition that improves Arsenal's squad. It improves the options immensely that Arteta has to work with over the second half of the season going forward, especially at the fact that it coincides at the time that Smith Rowe's come back, and you suddenly if you look at a substitutes bench on Sunday, for example, and it's got Smith Rowe and Trossard on it, then there's a lot more options immediately there for Arteta to change a game in an attacking sense going forward, and that can only be a good thing. Okay, so team news-wise, ahead of the United game on Sunday, depending on what happens with Trossard, and again, it's difficult because I'm recording this before the 12 p.m. deadline, and I don't know for sure whether they have got everything done in time for him to be included in the squad, but should it go ahead as planned and that Arsenal do get him signed and registered ahead of the 12 p.m. deadline, then he will be available to feature on Sunday against United, which will be a boost. I can't imagine he's going to go straight into the starting 11 or anything like that. Well, in fact, he won't. There's no way he's going to get ahead of Martinelli or Saka, but it'll be on the bench, and that will give Arteta another good option in terms of attacking, changing the game, isn't it, in attacking sense in the second half. No El Neni, probably he's going to miss out again. Again, it's not going to really impact Arsenal in terms of the starting 11, but in terms of the bench, it's going to weaken them a little bit. Doesn't look like Cedric Suarez is going to be involved either. Again, no Reece Nelson because of that hamstring injury. But other than that, Arsenal are looking pretty well stocked for this game on Sunday, barring any late injury or knock that is picked up in training, which fingers crossed doesn't happen, and that will certainly send Arsenal into the game on Sunday feeling pretty good about themselves. United, of course, there will be no Casemiro because of that yellow card he picked up against Crystal Palace, so that's a big blow for them, a big boost for Arsenal, no doubt about it, because you'd much rather play United without Casemiro than with him in the centre of the park. I think that's going to free up Odegaard to potentially have a really big impact on the game, and we all know when Odegaard plays well, Arsenal plays well. And he'd much rather be facing the United team without Casemiro marking him and protecting that sort of area in front of the back four. So that's good news for Arsenal. Like I said, Arteta will be speaking later today at London Colney, that 4 p.m. press conference, where I'm sure we'll get a little bit more in terms of team news, and we shall get his views on Trossard, fingers crossed, as long as it's announced by then, in terms of what he thinks he's going to bring to the side, bring to the squad. If it does all get announced, I'll probably do another video later on today, just looking over what has been said, what Trossard said, what Arteta said, because hopefully there'll be some interesting views coming from them on that. I'm sure you all watched it yesterday like I did, Manchester City versus Tottenham. You just can't rely on that lot for anything, can you? Honestly, season after season, they turn Manchester City over when you don't want them to. And then the one time you think, yeah, go on then, I don't mind you picking up 3 points against City. They muck it up, 2-0 up at half-time, and they go and lose 4-2. What a surprise. To be fair to Tottenham, though, City were very, very good in that second half. And they did it with Guardiola changed that team, didn't he? You looked at that subs bench yesterday, De Bruyne on the bench, Foden on the bench, Bernardo Silva on the bench. It was such a strong substitutes bench. It was unreal looking at, I think it was Diaz, Walker. It's unreal. And they went and turned it around in the second half without them. I thought Mahrez was absolutely exceptional for them. It was a proper individual performance from him that won that game. I mean, they were given a massive helping hand by some of their individual errors from Tottenham, who defensively looked an absolute shambles in the second half. From Lloris to Longley when he came on, to Romero, who I know lots of people rate, but whenever I see Romero, he's so rash and gets dragged out of position so easily. So for all of his good points, I just think there's so many weak points when it comes to Romero as well. Who was it? Who had an absolute nightmare down the left for the third goal? It was Perisic, wasn't it? Who committed himself just awful. Should have made it 3-2 just before that as well. Perisic, huge moment in the game. So it was disappointing from an Arsenal point of view. Obviously, you'd have wanted Manchester City to stay 8 points behind, or even if it was just a draw. But I mean, I think we all expected Man City to win against Spurs yesterday, so it's no great surprise. It's 5 points now, the difference. Arsenal do have a game in hand, of course. I thought Guardiola's comments after the game yesterday were quite interesting. It was a bit of a rallying cry almost. I kind of felt like he chose that was the moment to really put his cards on the table, call for more from the fans, try and G everyone up, because he knows that the battle that they're in with Arsenal, he can see what Arsenal are doing week in, week out now, the way they're playing, the confidence they have. He knows his tide have got to really pick up the pace to sort of keep them and potentially drag them in and reel them in. And I think that was a moment after that game, a comeback like that, he really sort of used that, I think, as a bit of a rallying cry, both to the club, the fans, the players, everyone. And it'll be interesting to see how Arsenal respond. We've seen them respond so well so far this season, whether they're under pressure because of a City win or they're under pressure to take advantage of a City slip up. They've done it really, really well, and hopefully they can do that again against Man United on Sunday, because if they can, you think it's probably really going to make it a 2-horse race, if it's not already, and it will just be another message to Man City in terms of whatever you can do, we can match it, we can go better. And so we shall see on that. All right, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Bit of a shorter update today, just mainly focused on Trossard. Like I said, I will try and do another video later on today if it all gets announced, looking at what everyone's had to say from Arteta to Trossard himself. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Until then, everyone, have a very good day. I'll speak to you soon.